not just about music. What does it mean to you? What's punk mean to you?
I mean, you can argue about punk until the cows come home, and you can gatekeep and you can say it's this and it's that and this other. But I think punk, for me, and I think what it means to a lot of people is whatever they want it to mean generally. But for me, I think punk's about punching up and not punching down. It's about lifting up the people around you, making your own community, and, you know, if something isn't there for your community or something that you think people need or something that needs to happen, just get up, DIY, do it yourself. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's really the spirit of punk for me, but it's different to everybody, and I'm not going to say what it is or isn't for anybody else.
And that's kind of the point, isn't it? Which is why I wanted to ask you that, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. What about you, Blake? And I know it is one of those questions, isn't it? If you are, you know, into punk, you play punk music, you are a punk, it probably is one of those questions where you go, oh, don't ask me that. But for people who aren't part of the scene, it is an interesting thing to sort of find out. So what does it mean to you?
I don't know. I guess it, like, in its early onset, it was about just being different, but standing up about your own, you know, what your own ideology, and, you know, a music was formed out of that, which was probably a bit more what I was into than anything out of it. As being a metalhead, I'm not exactly a punk.
Well, tell us then, Jenni, because you mentioned the community thing, and we're going to hear something from your new EP with Half Naked headline, which is called Brain Bleachers, and I was listening to it earlier. It is a fantastic piece of work, but it is very interesting for various reasons. First of all, each of the tracks are named, apart from track 1, they're all named after people. So first of all, I want you to tell me about that. And then also, the EP itself has got a purpose to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, so the title track, Brain Bleachers, each verse is the story of a homeless person, one that either myself or other members of the band have spoken to, and it tells their story throughout that song. And then each track after that, named Tom, Lucy, Max and Sam, are the people within those verses, and it delves into their story a little bit deeper, and tells it from their point of view almost. So the whole point of it really is to make their voices heard, because homeless people are often seen as invisible. And as a band, you know, it's something that we feel it's, you know, it's quite close to our hearts. Our first gig, for example, the whole point of that at Compton Vaults was to raise money to get a homeless person that we knew off the streets, which did work. The community really pulled together and we did that. We helped that person. You know, and we're hoping that we can do it again, whether it's someone we know or a stranger, with the sale of this EP. So it's been recorded by Jip, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job. And it's available to buy from us at gigs. We've got a physical copy, which we worked with local artists to DIY it. So it's all been done locally. And you can also get it on Bandcamp. And all of the money is going to go directly into the hands of homeless people.
And it's one of those things, I think, on the Isle of Man where some people may not be aware that it is an issue over here because you don't necessarily see it. You don't necessarily see homeless people on the streets, but it is a big issue over here, and it's something that we do hear about on the news.
Well, that's where the invisible part of being homeless really comes into play, because, you know, you do see people sat on the streets with a cup or a hat or whatever in the UK, but over here you don't see that. And people say, oh, there isn't any homeless people on the island, but there absolutely is. You know, they're not necessarily rough sleepers, but, you know, sofa surfers, you know, the hidden homeless, they still need help. They still don't have a space to go, and we're hoping that we can help them a little bit if we can.
And some are in very dangerous environments as well, and need to find somewhere to get out of them. So it's a wonderful thing, and obviously you being originally from Manchester, you have seen a lot of this kind of firsthand, haven't you? Which is, I assume, is that where your sort of
like I
interest
said,
came from?
A lot of the stories. I mean, I grew up in Manchester, and, you know, moving to the Isle of Man and seeing pretty much none of it, you know, with them actually being invisible, kind of got me thinking about it, really. And then when you go across, you know, every time I go across, it's just worse and worse over there with the homeless epidemic, you know. So we really, really do want to try and change as many people's lives as possible. Even if it's just one person with the sales of this EP, then that's still somebody's life that we can change. So.
Well, I think we should hear the EP, or at least the opening track from it, which gives you a really good idea. So we're going to get noisy in just a minute, peeps. So I would suggest you turn your radio up really, really loud to listen to this. But before we hear it, then...
Sounds better outside.
Yeah. Blake, just remind us then about the gig itself, when it's happening, where it's happening, and if you can remember, who is playing.
So next Saturday, November the 20th, in the Villa Marina.
In the Prom Suite,
we have Half Naked headline opening up, Swarf Damage following, and then the Ballaghs seeing the night out.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. And it is a free gig as well, isn't it?
It's free to attend. It's fully disabled accessible as well, which is really important to us because it's hard to find venues on the island that are. And 16 plus are allowed with an adult.
Which is excellent as
under
well.
18, so.
Thank you both so much for being with us. Jenni, I'm going to ask you to introduce your own track for us.
All right, okay.
Go on.
Next up is Brain Bleachers by Half Naked Headline.
Thanks, guys.